You've probably heard of the shepherd's sling. You know, the thing David used against Goliath? But have you heard of this? My name's Doug North, and on my channel I show you how to make, use, and appreciate interesting items from the past. Today we make this, the little-known Sling Stick. In my travels, I've heard of the shepherd's sling and the sling staff, but I'd never heard of the sling stick until I read the book Cache Lake Country by John Rowlands. Rowlands was a journalist and an outdoorsman back in the early part of the 1900s. The book is structured over the course of a year, month by month. He also includes a number of small do-it-yourself projects that you can do based on his descriptions and some drawings in the book. Rowlands' companion during this time was Chief Tibeash. The chief explained to Rowlands that the sling stick was a game that was played by the Cree children. You'd put a stone in there, cover it with the strap, and then use it to throw the stone. The person who was able to throw the stone the farthest was the winner. The sling stick isn't very complicated. It consists of a long handle about the size of a broomstick. At the opposite end, it has a flat area with a bit of a dimple carved or burned into the end, into which the projectile goes. Finally, a strap of leather contains the stone and is held by the same hand that holds the handle. In order to make the sling stick, we don't need very many materials. The first we need to consider is what wood to use. The chief told Rowlands that soft woods don't work well, and he recommended something like ash, maple, or hickory. I have here two options. One is a piece of cherry offcut. It's about 2 feet long and 1.5 inches wide and about 3/4 of an inch high. The other option is this piece of yellow locust that is about 1.5 inches in diameter and also about 2 feet long. In addition to the wood, we'll need some of this leather lacing or something comparable. This is about 3/8 of an inch thick. It'll also be useful to have some hardware, like upholstery tacks or any kind of small nail. If you decide to work with dimensional lumber, a lot of the hard cutting is done for you. You simply score out the shape for the wider spoon portion of the end and then cut down the handle to make it the appropriate size. If you choose to work with a stick, you'll have a bit more carving to do. Use a straight cutting saw to basically notch straight cuts in, leave the spoon portion at the end of the sling stick while thinning down the handle portion, like this. We've left the fat end at one end and we've started to taper down the area that will be the handle. During the next phase, you'll probably use a knife or a draw knife to start to smooth and round the handle. To create the depression in the end of the sling stick, we've got a number of options. You could use a small Forstner bit or a flat auger bit. You could carve this with a hook knife. You could even use a small coal taken out of the fire and placed there, and then blow in order to burn that area, remove the coal, and scrape it out with a knife. And then just repeat that process until you've reached the desired depth. The depression on the end of the sling stick is only about 1.25 inches in diameter and about 1/4 of an inch in depth. It just needs to be deep enough to provide the stone a secure place to sit prior to throwing it with the sling stick. Be sure to leave a significant amount of material over the spot where you put the depression. This provides a place for the leather to be attached to the top of the sling stick. With the sling stick shaped and the depression carved, you can also make 2 carved notches on either side of the head. This provides a location to securely fasten the leather strap. The leather strap itself can be affixed with tying or by using a combination of brads, tacks, what have you. I've done a bit of both with an escutcheon pin on the back, 2 on the front, and then half knot to tie it all together. You'll want the leather strap to reach nearly to the end of the sling stick handle. Here's how the rock sits in the sling stick prior to throwing. The combination of the depression in the end of the sling stick and the leather strap allow you to hold the stone securely until you're ready to throw it. When it comes to putting a finish on your sling stick, anything is pretty much fair game. All I've done for a finish is used a small propane torch to burn these rings along the length of the handle, and then gave the whole thing a light coat of boiled linseed oil. Learning to throw with the sling stick is largely going to be a matter of trial and error, but I can give you a few tips. For ammunition, you can use golf balls or stones about the size of a golf ball. I start by putting my hand through the lanyard, then grabbing the bottom of the handle with my bottom 3 fingers, leaving my thumb and index finger free. I grasp the leather strap between my first and second fingers. This allows me to apply additional tension by pressing forward with my thumb. With tension on the strap, you can then put the projectile underneath it and slide it up until it reaches the depression at the end of the sling stick. If you're like me, your first few throws, you're going to throw directly into the ground. You might be tempted to start stopping short to prevent that. But I encourage you to just work on the timing of your release so that you can do a full follow through with each throw. So here we are throwing. First, put tension on the strap, load up the ball or stone, wind up and swing. Of course, you're going to let go of the strap at the appropriate time, and you're just going to have to figure that out by trial and error. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at this unusual projectile throwing device. If you've enjoyed it, I encourage you to check out some of my other videos. I'm Doug North. Thanks for watching.